No, way too hot. Today, we are just going off the cuff. Just gonna kind of see how everything goes. I am a boudoir photographer, and basically, if you're unfamiliar with what that means, is that I take empowering photos of people, and usually it's of an intimate nature. Now, there is a difference between pornography and boudoir photography. It's anybody's guess whose quote this is, but somebody said it's difficult to define pornography, but I know it when I see it. There is an innate difference between the two. Now, boudoir photography is innately intimate, but it is also implicit. The definition of explicit doesn't just mean like nasty, right? Like that's not even what it means. Explicit means obvious and implicit means subtle. And so these may not be the dictionary definition. Even fine art nudes, it's not that isn't boudoir necessarily, because boudoir is more than just a style of photography. It's actually a feeling that the person who is in the photo feels. Of course, people don't just say like, oh, I'm feeling very boudoir today. But in order for it to be a boudoir photo shoot, number one, you're most likely not a professional model. You're usually a person who is looking to do this as an experience, but a boudoir photography photo shoot is usually something that is with the motive of it being the experience, right? So anybody who does a photography shoot with me is usually someone who just wants the photos for having the photos. And so that's one thing that really differentiates boudoir to other types of fashion photography, because, really, in a very broad sense, boudoir photography is just a special type of fashion photography. That was the smallest sip ever, because it's still too hot. Now, another thing that is a little bit different about boudoir is that boudoir is actually, like I was saying earlier, is associated with a feeling for whomever it is that is the model in the portrait. Normally, someone, like I said, someone who is taking part in this photo shoot is looking for it to be some type of experience. Now, sometimes the experience is a gift, and that's kind of what people pigeonhole boudoir as. They're always like, oh, I can't do a photo shoot because I'm not getting married, or I don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or I can't justify spending money like that on myself. All of those are kind of like separate ideas of things that we can talk about later. The point is that everybody who's pigeonholing boudoir in that way isn't understanding what the purpose of the photo shoot is in the first place. This person who's in the photo has placed it in their mind as something for someone else until they realize that the person that they gave it to cannot value it as much as the person in the photo can. There's no way for someone outside of the experiencer to value a boudoir photo shoot and the products associated with a boudoir photo shoot as much as the person who is in the photo, because the portrait isn't the gift. The experience was the gift. That's pretty damn good. That sip was a little bigger. Not bad. I recently had a client come to me, and she actually received a photo shoot from me as a model. A lot of people that have come to me through something called a model call. A model call is a way for a photographer to get you in the door at a lower price or even free, so that way you can experience a photo shoot with them. Encourages other people to see what it's like to have a photo shoot with me and know that it's something that this everyday person could do, so maybe me, an everyday person, could do it as well. But she received a photo shoot as a gift from her friend who referred her to me for her first boudoir shoot with me. Now, when I reached out to her to say, hey, I noticed that you haven't booked a photo shoot with me even though you were gifted a photo shoot, what's going on? And she had told me that she wasn't feeling very good about her physical appearance, and that no matter what she did or what she wore, she wasn't feeling very good about it. She had confided in me that the person that she gave the photos to, well, of course she still enjoys them herself, hardly looks at them, and that was, her words were, it's a travesty. But so many people have it ingrained in their mind that this is a gift to someone else. And I think that we can extrapolate that idea of a boudoir photo shoot being for another person to boiling it down to our bodies and lives being a gift for someone else. Of course, not every person feels this way, but if you are the kind of person who can see yourself giving a photo shoot to someone else, but not innately seeing the value of your physical vehicle that transport your spiritual being, then perhaps you're the type of person who also looks at your body as a gift, whether to your children or to a spouse, could be your job, whomever it is that is receiving the benefit. Put it into perspective of the way that this body was given to you. Somehow you are given a physical experience that revolves inside of this body, and you are now giving that body to someone else in some way, shape, or form. It could be, like I said, through children. You for years you allow your body to be run down in order for these children or this job or this lover to be put forward. And while that's not wrong, it's not bad, it's not good. It's just the way that it is to be a human. This person that I've been referencing has a lot of love for the rest of her life. She's really struggling to love the vehicle that her spirit resides in. It's just something that she's working through. That's the idea of boudoir photography. It's supposed to be something that is transformative. It's fun, it's exciting, it's like jaw-dropping sometimes when you see your images, but it's not something that can work without your consent. You have to heal from whatever traumas you're carrying, and boudoir photography can help you with that, but it can't turn your insecurities around in one day, but it can help you recognize that it's all perspective, just like everything in life. You can choose to look at anything from whatever direction is most valuable. You can take a look at this video to learn more about the Stoic philosophy of not attaching to expectations and acknowledging that even though you might not have control over what happens to you in your life, you do have control over how it impacts you in the long term, especially if it's something that you continue to wrestle with. And boudoir photography is just another opportunity for you to try and heal these traumas that you're carrying around, regardless of where they came from. When I first started doing boudoir photography, I actually was not a photographer before I chose this niche. It sort of chose me. I knew someone who was a cam girl, and she had approached me and said, I need some photos for my clients. Would you do it for me? It was so funny because I didn't know anything about photography. I literally didn't own a single, anything like that. There was nothing really going for me in that department. Hey, let's just try this, see how it goes. Sure enough, she loved the photos actually. And of course, this was a little bit different scope of what I ended up doing, but it was certainly the first stepping stone on this path. And so after that, I was like, hey, what if I actually had any education at all, had any equipment? Any at all, like a camera. I had access to studio lighting so easily, and that's the universe shining down and saying, hey, this is a good idea. Jeremy's uncle had a photography hobby and had things that he didn't really need. All of this stuff was just kind of falling in my lap. So I made a website and there we were. I was officially ready to go. On August 13th of 2016, I launched my business. I was like, okay, who can I basically practice on? Who can be my guinea pig now that I've got the equipment? Who should I call? There was this girl that I had met and she was getting married, and I was like, hey, let's do this if you're cool with it. And she was. I was under the impression that it was pretty much just lovebirds and blushing brides who were going to be taking part in this kind of a photo shoot. And while that was certainly how I got started, there have been people that I photographed who have been in ill health. There was a woman who I had a photo shoot with who had been diagnosed with cancer. And there was another one who had a lumpectomy. There have been people who have had photo shoots with me who might look a way that you think that is healthy or might look a way that you think is unhealthy, and they are the opposite of your expectation. The beautiful thing is that all of them go home with photos that they love, that they get to stare at whenever they need to. I've been able to give women the opportunity to take back control and recognize that this body takes them through life, something that they have to rely on. I'm sure that there are people that I photographed that don't look at their photos very often, and my guess is that those are the people who came to me through a model call, who were already pretty happy with the bodies that they have, and were people who only got album, who were extremely changed by their boudoir photo shoot because they can look at it and see that it's just their perspective. It's not actually the truth when they look in the mirror. They're people who have photos out all the time. And there are people who bought more than an album because instead of having it shoved away in a closet or in a box, hidden away from the world, they have it out. And that's not to say hanging as soon as you walk in their door, there's a big sexy photo of them. It's just that they get to see it before they go out to see the world. You get to wake up and see the person that you are able to be if you need to be them before you go out and have to put on the show of what it means to be you outside in the world. Is boudoir photography for everyone? Fuck yeah. And if it's not for you, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But it is for everyone. Not just for blushing brides, and it's not just for honeymooners, and it's not even for just women. It's not for just skinny people. It's not for, you know, only for larger people who want to learn how to love their body. It's not for people who, you know, just got a second lease on life. It's not for just pregnant women. It's not for people who aren't pregnant. It's not just for anybody who's any type of specificity. It's for who wants a boudoir session. That's who it's for. If you want one, you should have one. Because from here, it doesn't look like there's any reason not to have a photo shoot. If you can think of a reason why you shouldn't have a photo shoot, I'd like you to send me an email. Do it, if you're not afraid. And hopefully the point that gets across that if you don't want to have a photo shoot, then you shouldn't have one. But if you are interested in having a boudoir photo shoot, you're the only fucking person standing in your way. So stop doing that and get on it. If you want information about having a photo shoot with me, my information is down below in the description box. If you have any questions, just send the information over to me. You know, just start checking it out. There's all kinds of information about choosing photo shoot locations and, you know, choosing hair and makeup and, you know, whatever it is that you need. Wardrobe. Picking a wardrobe is always really fun and terrifying for some people, but if you fall in the terrifying camp, just take a look at some of the information in there, or send me information, like send me your questions directly and we'll figure it out. Here we are. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time. Later, Gator.